Hello!
I was not ready.
Welcome back.
There was no warning.
Welcome to my channel. I'm Traben. These are some of our tomes.
Oh, our tomes this time.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, not all these are mine.
They never are.
And welcome to our spooky edition of our weekly reading sprints. So, yeah. It's the holiday season, so I thought, we're both focusing on kind of spooky reads at the moment, and so that's what I titled it. I titled it "Time to Get Spooky" this week. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Amanda. My channel is Amanda Should Be Reading.
How's it going?
Not great.
You've been playing a lot of Blueprints.
I've been playing a lot of Blueprints.
Let's talk about what we're going to read tonight.
God, I don't even know.
Anything you've read of interest lately. I kind of want to talk about the last thing I just read.
Feel free.
But I will first off talk about how I'm going to be reading House of Leaves, and that this book is so ridiculous. It is just probably one of the most challenging books I've read in recent memory. I can't think of anything that's been quite this elaborate or like difficult to get through, and it's so long too. I haven't even gotten to like the crazy bits yet.
But you've read more than where your bookmark is, because you had that whole appendix, right?
Yeah, I read about 40 pages of another like a side character's side character, the letters that she wrote while in a psychiatric ward, and so yeah, it's a lot. There was one letter that you had to take it's not like a spoiler or like a secret or anything. She tells you that you have to do this. You have to take every first letter of a word, and that makes the actual message, because the letter itself is gibberish. But then within that letter, there's another code that I made a thing of, and it doesn't make any sense. So, if you're not familiar with House of Leaves, this is a novel, so it's all fiction, everything's fake, right? But it's a book about a person who finds a series of documents in an old man's house after he passes away that purports to be about this video series that, within the fiction of the book, doesn't exist. So it's rambling, and also the one who's writing about this video series that doesn't exist is blind. So that does not help. So you're reading, it's got this like 1001 Arabian Nights feel to it at certain points, because you're reading about someone else reading about these books, and then the person who finds them comes in with these random asides that have really nothing to do with what's happening. There's a bunch of footnotes to books that don't exist. It's so much work. Also, it's written in, at least, as far as I've gotten, I think I've come across at least 4 languages, and I know there's Braille later on. So,
but this one does not include the actual Braille, or
it has the characters. That's like the markings.
But they're not raised. Yeah.
So,
are there editions where there are?
I don't know. I think this is like of what's currently available, I think this is like the nicest edition you can get, because it is like the full color one. And at the front, again, it's hard to tell where the fiction starts and stops, but the full color edition, it tells you what it does. The word house is in blue. Minotaur and all struck passages are in red. It has the color plates. The only struck line in one chapter appears in purple, and there's a 2-color black and white and incomplete. So yeah, but again, this is really straddling the line between reality and fiction, and so it's hard to tell if even that is
part of the
real
fiction,
thing,
part
right?
of the fiction or part of the metafiction.
or like just to make you feel like, oh, I have like the complete edition with all this random nonsense in the back. So yeah, the book, the story itself, I think is around 500 to 600 pages, right, to get through the files. But then in the back, there's all these appendices that you can go through, and it kind of indicates to you when you should look at one, or like, look at this part or look at this part. And so there was a thing that was like, if you want to know more about the backstory of this character, then look at this appendix. And so I did. And so yeah, I've been spending the last
But have
day.
you been enjoying it?
Yeah, it's a really interesting puzzle.
Because like you talked about how hard it was and everything, but like, how do you like it?
Yeah, I like it. I like doing puzzles. I like the intricate nature of it. I find it like it's hard to argue that it's not an impressive feat of writing.
Impressive construction.
Yeah, not on a technical level to just put all this together, but also just to create this fiction within fiction, and all these characters kind of interacting with one another. So that's all I'm going to be reading tonight, I think. What about you? What do you have?
I
You
don't
picked
even
up-
know.
Yeah, I saw you got a lot of stuff.
I brought in books, and then I saw books laying around, and I grabbed those books, and then I was like, oh, I should get those other books, and then I ended up with this mini stack of books. So I've got Zatanna, which is a magic character in DC, so she fits the Halloweeny season. She is a magician, which is like witch adjacent, like
Yeah.
it's by another name.
Well, we were talking about that earlier today too.
What?
Well, I was saying.
Oh yeah.
Like witches, in a lot of fiction, witches are just girl sorceresses.
Yeah.
Like there's really not a whole lot of distinction. Mm-hmm. So
So this is magic, so it's kind of got some vibes. I grabbed these two Batman books I have that are 5 scary stories for a Dark Knight and 5 more scary stories, 5 scarier stories for a Dark Knight. And I bought these to read with my kids, and I haven't yet because my kids are a little, well, one of them is a little nervous about spooky stuff, so I kind of want to know what the level is.
okay.
So
I
I can
thought you
warn
had read.
them.
I thought you had read those.
They have been like on the imminent TBR and then not gotten read. I think I pulled them out last Halloween and they didn't get to them.
Okay.
But they're not long. Like, if I sat down and read them, I mean, the text is huge. These are young reader books. It's like 100 pages each, and they've got pictures. So, probably not that, honestly, not that scary. It's for kids, but I like Batman. Then I grabbed Batman Once Upon a Crime, which is also a younger one, but I like
Seems less
Dustin
Halloween-y.
Nguyen's art. Yeah, it's more just like spooky Gotham stuff. But like I like Batman. And then I grabbed the Dollhouse Family, which I believe I bought to read last Halloween
That looks cool.
and didn't. So I have this that I have not read that I grabbed off the shelf. And then I grabbed this, which you recommended,
Yes.
which is Everything is Fine,
That is
which I know nothing about.
That's squarely horror. I mean, just look at the covers. You can kind of tell
Yeah.
a little bit about what's going on.
But I don't know any of the story. I don't know anything. I just know you said it's horror.
Yep.
And that's all I know. So going in pretty blind. And then for book-wise, I grabbed a couple different things. Subcutanean, which I started, 2 years ago?
Yeah, there's a video on our channel. Check it out.
On your channel, yeah. Where we read the first bit of this together.
I think we read the first 2 chapters.
Because every copy of this book is slightly different.
Yes.
If you get a copy of this book, it will not be like our copy of this book. So if you get a copy of this book, you should check out our video and read the first 2 chapters while listening to our video to see kind of where it's different. So I read the beginning of this and then hit a reading slump and didn't finish it.
Yeah.
So I would like to read this one. I know you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did. I liked it quite a bit. Now I will say there is a version that's like their mass market.
Their
one.
Amazon version.
Yeah, so if you get the one off of Amazon, all
will
of those
all
are
be
the
the same.
same. If you listen to the audiobook recording
Is
is
one version.
recording. But you can go onto the website and order. We specifically went on and ordered 2 copies, and what they'll do if you want to like buddy read with someone is you can buy 2 copies, and they will try to give you 2 copies that are as far apart from each other.
So it says right here, this copy was generated from seed 44514 and is the only copy generated from that seed. Additionally, this copy was co-generated with seed 44546.
Oh, it's me.
These 2 were the least similar pair of seeds in the range of 44535 to 44554.
So there's just a number of places where descriptions are different, entire scenes are different.
The quote at the beginning of the book is different, is completely different.
It's also, like, I'm reading through House of Leaves. It's also similar to House of Leaves.
It has a similar vibe, yeah.
Yeah, it has a very, very similar structure in that the character is finding, like, these hallways.
A house that's too big.
Yeah.
It's too big. Too much space for what it should be.
When I was reading that, I had heard a lot of connections to this. So
this just significantly more straightforward in terms of
also shorter
how you read it.
Yeah.
So, and then I saw you had pulled this one out.
Yeah, there's a question, an upcoming thing I'm doing that I want to talk about that.
And so I really like Jonathan Sims. He does the Magnus Archives, which is a podcast I really like. I need to get caught up on the Magnus Protocol.
Yeah.
I started it and it was really different.
Mm-hmm.
And I was trying to put pieces together, and it was really interesting to try to figure out what, if any, connections there are.
Mm-hmm.
So I listened to a lot of it on the plane when we went on our trip a while ago. And I really like Jonathan Sims. Would you recommend this one or Family Business more?
I like 13 Stories more. But
should I read Family Business first?
I feel like so the difference is I feel like if you liked the Magnus Archives, this is going to give you more of that feeling because it's these independent stories and they connect at the end in a very like satisfying way.
But am I going to be disappointed if I read this one and then I read the other one? Am I going to like not enjoy the other one because it's not as good?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The other one is just like if they took a Magnus Archive episode and like made it very much longer.
Well, and that's fine. I don't mind that. Like I like Jonathan Sims' style.
Yeah.
But like I don't want to.
They were both good.
Okay.
I really liked that one, and it did something. We're talking about like unique reads. It did something that I've not seen before, which is like have these. It was a series of short stories that don't relate to each other at all
until
at
they
the
do.
start.
Until they do.
And then at the end, all those characters start coming together, and what has happened to them. They all live in the same apartment complex. What has happened to them?
Oh, interesting.
Like matters for the climax of the book.
And then I recently picked up Murder at the Black Cat Cafe, which is a classic Japanese mystery. And it's kind of mystery season. Spooky season is kind of mystery season.
Christmas is mystery season, according to Barnes and Noble.
Well, Christmas mysteries are their own thing.
Yeah, but that looks sufficiently spooky.
This looks more like fall vibes than.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I saw it on my shelf because I bought it not that long ago, and so I thought if I was looking for something that wasn't quite horror, to my knowledge, as far as I know, it's just a mystery, but was still in that like spooky area, I thought this might be a good one. I'm not going to get through most of this stack, but, you know, it's the thought that counts, right?
But let's go, we'll go ahead and jump into our first sprint, because I don't want to take too much time before we do that. And then we'll be back. We'll talk about our reads, and we'll talk about other stuff.
Do a bunch of stuff and then go back to sleep.
Yeah, and then go to sleep. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start up the sprints. We'll be back in 45 minutes.
See you soon.
We're back. Get the timer going. How was your book?
It's pretty good. I'm about halfway through.
Which one did you start with?
The Dollhouse Family. So it is a story about a little girl who inherits a dollhouse from a great aunt they don't really know they have.
Suspicious.
Yeah. And so she's playing with the dollhouse, and it was unclear at first. Like, it seemed like she just made up these crazy names. But it becomes clear later that, like, the dollhouse told her what the names of the dolls are.
Okay.
And she is able to shrink down and go into the dollhouse. And I'm only about halfway through, so I don't feel like this is too spoilery. She learns that the family in the dollhouse, it's like a man, a woman, and 3 kids. She thought they were all like a family, but they reveal that they were all strangers before they came to the house. But now they're super happy to live in the dollhouse forever. And that there's a black room in the dollhouse that you can only go into if the house wants you to.
Okay.
And Alice has been in the room twice and has been offered a deal because the house has this type of magic where if you agree to stay in the dollhouse forever, it can go out into the real world and do one big thing.
Okay.
And she has been offered this twice, and she has refused both times. And the house is pissed. So we've seen some of the ramifications of her struggling with the house's offer and not really wanting to agree to it.
Yeah.
And we're also getting this flashback story of her, like, ancestors.
Okay.
Because we were told, like, that the mom's family tree where this house came from is, like, full of crazies and messed up crazy people. And so we're kind of seeing, like, right now we are seeing, there was a letter that said that in 1828 the house was made for the first son of John Kent. And so we saw John Kent, we saw him get together with his wife, and now we see their son.
Okay.
Who shares a name with one of the people in the dollhouse. So now we're watching that baby grow up, and I'm kind of waiting to see, like, where the intersection is going to be.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm only about halfway through, so I don't feel like anything is too spoilery, because I don't know how it's going to end. And we've watched Alice go from a very young girl to an adult already. So time is passing. And there's this third layer of this, like, entity. Like, I didn't even touch on the cave. But there's this third layer of this entity that seems to have, like, crashed on Earth in, like, primordial times, maybe, that is talking about, like it talks about, like, how after a million years or two or many, the world heals over us, and then it's like, and then a little later this happens, and we're in 1981.
Sure.
And then they're like, oh, maybe a little before that this happened, and we go back to 1928. So we have this weird, like, entity that said it had to, like, shape things to fight a beast talking. And I have no idea where that comes in or what that is or who it is.
This sounds wild, but really fun.
It's really interesting. I don't know what I was expecting because I didn't really remember the synopsis. Like, I didn't reread the synopsis before I started reading it. So I wasn't really sure what to expect. But it's definitely been creepy. The Black Room in the Dollhouse is very creepy. It's not, like, super scary, oh my gosh, but it is very creepy. It does have a lot of, like... Oh, excuse me. It's got a lot of good intersection of, like, real-world horror in the terms of, like, abuse and violence, intersecting with this, like, magic. So it's been very interesting.
Cool.
How was your book?
Pretty good. So they've another group of characters have shown up, and they're starting to do, like, investigations down into this impossible space. there's a staircase that goes down seemingly forever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Did you ever read Goosebumps?
Yeah.
Did you read Welcome to Horrorland?
I might have.
Wasn't there a slide that went forever?
I think so. I think there was a Choose Your Own Adventure that...
There definitely was.
Choose Your Own Adventure...
Welcome to Horrorland.
Oh, was that one? Okay.
Okay, so the book existed first, and they made a Choose Your Own Adventure out of it.
Uh-huh.
Because I didn't read the books. My neighbor read all the books and told me the plots of all of them. Mm-hmm. And then I read the Choose Your Own Adventures, and I knew not to go down the slide because my friend had told me about it.
Yeah. And I was reminded of that Choose Your Own Adventure story. Because I was familiar with that.
Yeah, it came from a mainline Goosebumps book. It's set in Horrorland, where they I guess they slide for a while and then realize it's not at the bottom, so they climb back up it. Mm-hmm. I think.
So they've done 3 investigations now.
Okay.
And they're about to do a 4th, and the 4th one is going to last days. Like, they keep on increasing the time. They hear growls sometimes when they're down there.
Okay.
And so some of them think it's like the house moving, and some of them think there's something down there. We haven't figured out what's happening there yet. But yeah, it's moving along quite nicely. I'm close to... Like, some things have already gotten kind of crazy. But I'm close to the point where it's actually going to start, like, having... like text within text and backwards text and all this like crazy nonsense that it starts doing toward the middle.
Where it becomes more than just reading words on a page and becomes a lot more visually interesting.
Yeah. But so far it's still really good. Like the story is still entertaining and engaging. I do find the footnotes from the character who found the book to be kind of like meh. Because like he just randomly talks about his life and all these things that he's going through, and they usually don't relate at all to what's happening in the rest of the story.
Yeah.
I did want to say, because we forgot to mention this at the start of the stream, that it is raining outside.
Quite hard.
And so we might hear some thunder. Also, like, entirely possible that, like, electricity, like, everything just dies. So if we just suddenly
vanish,
that is the reason why. So yeah, House of Leaves is going well. I do like the kind of puzzle of it. We've been doing a lot of, like, puzzly things lately.
I like puzzles.
You do like puzzles. Oh, and I did want to talk about this as well. So, I read the last... So, this is tangentially related. I read the last issue of Immortal Legends Batman, and it is possibly the best single issue of a comic I've read in a very long time. It is where... So, in this volume... Batman comes up against the Riddler, and there are actual, like, riddles in the book that you can solve. And at the very beginning, it's like, if you see this symbol, that means that this picture is the puzzle, and you can try to solve it, or you can just read on to find it. There's 3 puzzles in the book, and a 4th puzzle that you have to be paying very close attention to.
That's
find.
Not labeled?
That's not labeled. The other ones are very clear. And the framing of the story, because he's going up against the Riddler, is that, like, before each room, there's an item that reminds him of something from his past. And something within that story gives you a hint about how to solve the puzzle.
Okay.
So, it's just amazing. Also, just like... all of this also ties in to the main plot of the book, which is a play on the idea that the villains that Batman faces are kind of aspects of his character. So, It worked so well. It's incredibly well thought out. I'm very much looking forward to where the story is going. But for that volume specifically, because of those puzzles and like the frustration and also joy of trying to figure them out, I got 2 of the 3. And I didn't even realize the 4th one was a thing.
Existed. Mm-hmm.
I did notice something earlier in the book, but
you didn't put it together.
I didn't put it together.
Yeah.
So, you should read it.
I probably will. Is that 2 or 3?
That's 3.
Did I read 2?
You did not.
Okay.
I don't think so.
I don't think I did.
2 had Bane in it.
No, I didn't read 2.
This universe's version of Bane in
I only
it.
read
So, but it was really good.
Okay, I'll probably read it.
Like I said, we've been doing puzzly things lately.
I've been playing Blueprints. I am at a frustrating point in Blueprints where I had a whole bunch of discoveries, one after another, after another, after another. Like, something led to something, I figured something out, something led to something else, I figured that out really quick, you know. So I had a whole bunch of discoveries right at once, where everything layered really nicely. It was super exciting. There was always something new that I wanted to do, that I was able to do, because there was so much there. There were so many, like, points. But I resolved so many things fairly quickly that now I'm kind of hitting a wall where I have, like, 2 or 3 puzzles that I'm working on that I'm either stuck on or I'm missing something. Like, I have to progress in something else before I can get anywhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
it's also being really stingy. Like, you know there's a room you have to go into.
Well, that's part of what I was going to mention is, like, before, it wasn't that big of a deal if I didn't get X room because I was looking for X, Y, Z, and also Q. So if I didn't get X, I probably got one of those other ones. But now that since I achieved so much really quickly, now I have one really big goal. Like, I had the schoolhouse goal that I did, and I got through that. And I've had a couple other little things like, oh yeah, I want to get that done. And like, I got the one upgrade disc. I knew where it was. And I have another one of those. So I have other things I can, like, do, but there's one big thing I really want to do. There's only one big thing at the moment. Because I'm stuck on most of the other things. Like, there was one book that I read that had, like, 4 puzzles in it. And I was like, 4 whole puzzles. And so I had so many things to be thinking about. But now that I've resolved most of that, I'm stuck with this one thing. And I'm like, okay, what do I need to get back to that space. And I can't find it again. Yeah. And so I do understand why some people are frustrated by the RNG, and I'm frustrated by it too. I'm still getting things done, but it is frustrating that I've probably done at least 6 or 7 runs, and I haven't seen this one room.
Yeah.
And I haven't been able to manipulate its RNG the ways I can in the house. That hasn't come up. So there hasn't been anything where I can... And really, the last couple runs I had, I didn't even have, like, a lot of rerolls to see other rooms. So, like, that was frustrating. I might try, if I get a laundromat again, I might try to get a laundromat powered by the boiler room so that I can just get an absolute ton of reroll dice and then see if I can't force it at some point.
Yeah.
Just by rerolling until I get it. Because that feels like a way I could maybe do it within the bounds of the game to really force it, that I haven't really tried. I haven't really been like, oh, well, what if I really focus on this one thing really hard to do that? I haven't really done that. So, it's an option.
There's also, like, we still haven't figured out the clock room.
Yeah, I have no idea what to do with that. And the other frustrating thing with the game is because there is a lot of RNG in it. You don't know what order you're going to come into the rooms. The game doesn't know what order. You're not going to go in one line. Everyone's experience in the game is going to be very different. So sometimes you find, when you get into a new space, you find a clue for something you solved ages ago. So that can be very frustrating because you get into a new space, in a new room that you've never seen before, and you expect to be rewarded with something new, and you go, oh, this is a clue for something I've already done.
Yeah.
And it can be kind of a letdown. And there's no way the game could know that. The game doesn't know. The game isn't putting clues in order for you. It's just putting a bunch of clues in the house.
Yeah.
But it is frustrating when you're like, yeah, something new. Something I've already solved.
Yeah. All right. I do want to go ahead and jump into another sprint because we are going to be late. It's late already. And I want to do a third one if we can. Cause,
Yeah.
Like you got rest today, and I'm feeling pretty good. Most times I am not. Most times I'm falling asleep. But today I want to get 3 sprints in. So let's get back to it. Get the timer back up. Alrighty, we're back again.
So close to the end.
You're so close to the end.
Yeah.
I finished like a chapter and then some more. It's starting to get to where the main text and the footnotes are blending really badly. And also there was a point where it had a footnote that was out of order. That was annoying.
On purpose?
I'm pretty sure on purpose.
I'm sure on purpose.
I had to flip a couple pages ahead. Also, a surprising amount of sex in this section. Like, it had been something that had been talked about somewhat. But, like, in this one, we were focusing a lot more on these last couple of chapters on the life of the guy who, like, found the Navison records. That's what the thing is called. The main point of the book, or the main structure of the book. I also got to these pages where we start having red crossed out words, which are apparently in the original document things that he tried to get rid of, but he used turpentine and a magnifying glass to restore them. So there's all these sections about labyrinths and the purpose of a labyrinth. The other thing is I started getting these like purple streaks in the book. So like there are these like text features or like
Get a little farther over. Oh yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, you can see it. Which I think is just really interesting. I also learned that regardless of what language house shows up in, it will be blue. So, yeah. Very interesting book. But so far, nothing that has been elaborated on, like the main plot that I'm most interested in. Which I feel is the actual records of like going into this house. So, get the timer up.
My book also had a somewhat surprising amount of sex. But it is about kind of family lineage, so
Okay.
Coupling is important in terms of like family line,
Sure.
because descendants, it's a family that is like cursed, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
I'm going back to look for something because there have been some interesting things revealed, because I'm right at the end.
Okay. What are your thoughts so far?
It's been fairly well constructed. Like, I feel like short horror, like 6-issue miniseries of things, I feel like sometimes go for shock value or like aren't fully constructed. Like they feel really like they lack something, or they don't like complete a circle. I feel like this one is very well written, and I mean it's written by I've read other stuff by, I think, by M.R. Carey. I'm pretty sure I've read stuff.
That's not a name that immediately springs something to mind for me. Other comics, do you think?
Lucifer.
Okay.
And so I'm pretty sure I've read other things by this author. Also apparently wrote The Girl with All the Gifts, which is a book that I'm aware of.
Girl with All the Gifts.
Yeah, it's a book. Like a sci-fi book.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. Maybe I've looked at it before.
It's also interesting because the synopsis on the back only covers like the very beginning of the story. Like, I told you more about this book than the back of the book tells you. The back of the book is just like, Alice got a dollhouse when she turned 6, and she can go into the dollhouse, and then some stuff happens. So this is really relating to like, we have figured out like what the dollhouse wants, and there have been some interesting developments in what the dollhouse is doing and how it is going about it. I am still interested in, there was a pattern in how the dollhouse collected people before that it really broke with Alice.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure why.
Okay.
The only thing I can figure out is that it was close to its goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that maybe being that close, it didn't want to wait. And so it broke its own pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are shown a very clear pattern of how the dollhouse lures people into the house. Mm-hmm. And it did not do that with Alice. It very much changed the pattern. So I don't know if we're going to get an explanation other than it growing impatient or just it being really close and not wanting to wait. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're going to get any explanation there, which I would say would be the only plot hole type of thing we have so far. But so far, I feel like we have a pretty good story. I haven't gotten to the resolution yet, so we'll have to see how satisfying that is. Mm-hmm. But so far, it's done a fairly good job of dealing with the things it's introduced and not leaving things hanging and not introducing stuff just to be shocking or just to be like fuel for the horror without like proper like weight around it. Mm-hmm. So it's been very interesting. I've liked it a good bit. I would recommend it to horror fans at the moment.
Okay.
We'll see how it ends up.
Alrighty.
It's got, like I said, I think I'm in the final issue. So I'm very close. But we are in the end game now.
Yeah.
So I will finish this up real quick.
Do you feel like it's going slow just because it's denser than most comic books?
I don't know why I'm reading it so slow. I might just be
late?
tired.
Yeah.
And these might be, who is this? I mean, this is DC Black Label, but it just feels like maybe it's a little longer than like a short issue. Like maybe these were a little longer. And I have gone back a couple times to like compare things and be like, oh, is that what we saw before? Mm-hmm. And I tend to read graphic work slower than you anyway, because I take a lot of time to look at the art and take in the details, and like.
I just rush through without a care in the world.
You tend to read it much faster than I do.
I do.
But yeah, it's been really interesting. I like dollhouses. Like, I like miniature stuff. Miniature things are fun, and I've always really liked small things. I never had a dollhouse growing up. I was an army brat, and so we moved a lot. And so a dollhouse is very delicate. Like, a dollhouse is, like, a real nice dollhouse is a very delicate piece, full of lots of little delicate pieces. Mm-hmm. And I think it was just one of those things that, like, was too hard to purchase. And so I never had a dollhouse. And I always wanted one. So they kind of hold, like, a mystique for me. And then there's all sorts of stories for kids about dollhouses, right? Like, there was an Are You Afraid of the Dark episode about a dollhouse, at least one. There might have been more than that.
Well, dolls are generally considered creepy, right?
Yeah, but it's not dolls that fascinate me. It's the dollhouse. Dolls, I don't even care if there are dolls in my dollhouse. The dollhouse is what I find interesting.
There's also that one episode of Drawfee where she made a dollhouse. Picture of a dollhouse.
Oh, or she just did a house? Yeah.
It's supposed to be creepy. There's a ghost on the front.
Kind of, yeah.
There's some ghosts.
So yeah, I find dollhouses really fascinating. I think miniature things in themselves are really fascinating, and so like I'm drawn to dollhouses. Mm-hmm. And I do think they lend themselves well to horror because they are a facsimile of like life. And they are very carefully constructed, where like you can't do that in real life. You can't construct your life to the detail at which you can a dollhouse, keeping it in order and very like carefully put together. So I think dollhouses on their own are very interesting to play with in fiction, because they have that like reflection of reality
Yeah.
inherently built into them. And also, like, in this, we are playing a bit with the idea that, like, a dollhouse will never change. Mm-hmm. The dolls never grow up. Like, nothing moves forward. Mm-hmm. A dollhouse is very static.
Okay.
And that might be one reason why I wanted one as a kid, because I did move around quite a bit. Mm-hmm. So I wanted a house that was mine.
I see.
So, yeah. That's definitely why I was drawn to this one to pick it up, was because of the dollhouse framing, and I do think dollhouses lend themselves well to horror, and it's done a good job. It also is dealing with kind of a cosmic entity, but like, because we situated this cosmic entity as like at the beginning of Earth, you can tie it into just like demonic tales on Earth, because that's always been there. Mm-hmm. So like it's tying in with like different superstitions and things about devils or demons, because assumedly that's where these things came from, because this thing existed. So yeah, it's been very interesting. I feel like it's done a good enough job of establishing like what is at stake and where these entities kind of came from. Like, we don't really have... We know they're like cosmic beyond comprehension. Mm-hmm. And like that they've basically been like in multiple worlds. So that gives you kind of like a sense of stakes of like, what is at risk if we fail and this thing wins. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So far pretty good. Good choice for spooky season.
Yeah. I'm not sure where the horror in this book is going to come up. Like, there is something a little bit... There's some growing tension around the house and, like, them getting lost in this, like, extra-dimensional space.
Do you think the horror will partially come from just, like, feeling, like, madness? Like...
Maybe. I mean, that's another thing that they're kind of exploring. And, like, the character who is doing the footnotes... frequently we'll talk about like how, I think like the most recent one, he talked about how a car hit him and like tore him in half and severed his legs, and everybody around him was gasping, and then he'll go, except for there was no crowd and there was nobody on my street, nothing happened. And then he talks about how a tree fell on him, but there's no trees on his street. And then he's like, I need to stop doing this.
And you said that there was the one about the mother in like an asylum, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like
that's his mom.
It seems like it's leaning on like this idea of not being able to trust your own perception, your own mind.
And earlier on, he was kind of set up. I don't know if he's a compulsive liar, but he likes telling these stories about how certain things happened to him.
But it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've heard some people talk about this, about how this like really scared them, like it was really frightening. And generally with books, I don't really get as afraid as I do with like movies and things, or video games. But so I was hoping for like that to start happening, but I think also the kind of convoluted way this is written might be kind of a hindrance to that, because it requires some decoding, and that makes you very aware of the like artifice of it as well. So that might just be a me thing.
Well, movies and video games have so many other tricks, namely music.
Yeah.
Like, music is a shortcut to hardwiring your brain to tell it how to feel. Mm-hmm. Like, just playing scary music, tense, scary music tells your brain, hey, be afraid now.
Yeah. And, yeah, there's other things, too. With video games, there's a sense of control, like you're doing certain things, so you feel as though You are like part of that story in a way that you can't really do with text on a page.
Yeah.
The same is true as far as my understanding is with film as well. Like our brains have not developed to watch things on a screen and separate what is happening there as separate from our own experience.
But wouldn't you argue that happens when you get lost in a really good book too? That it's like it's easy enough to like lose part of the separation between yourself and the thing you're reading about? Like, have you never experienced that?
Maybe, but like I think that's a stronger there's a stronger pull for that for me in the other media.
Interesting.
So yeah, but I'm still enjoying it, and like I said, this is inarguably like very well constructed and very interesting.
Seems like
a big passion project.
Artistic wonder, because like you can't just slap this together. This is very carefully constructed.
Yeah. So, but I'm mostly having fun with like trying to piece everything together, and my biggest question right now is, because we know this main story didn't happen, these videos don't exist, what is the connection between that story, the guy who was telling them, and the one who's like recounting it here and commenting on it?
But how do you know it didn't happen?
That
magic isn't covering it up.
Maybe, I guess.
Like, isn't that supposed to be like the question? Is like,
I mean, maybe, but like it starts off telling you that like everything is nonsense. These footnotes don't exist. This guy just like rambled and came up with all these things. And there's even a part where there's this long list of artist names, and he says that he talked to the person who was like helping him dictate this, and they just found random names. They just found random art things. So it tells you a bit about like how it was done. But again, you're talking about someone who's like very obviously an unreliable narrator. So it's hard to tell what is real at all, which I guess is kind of the point, but it is frustrating trying to come up with a connection for things that might not even exist within the fiction of the book. So we'll see how it goes. All right.
Time to finish this.
Another 45 minutes. We'll be back. I want to talk about how crazy my book has become to offer some kind of insight into anybody who's wanting to perhaps read this. And I don't feel like this is particularly spoilers because it's just entirely insane. So they start talking about the house, and they mention that it doesn't have any kind of like finish work. There's no fixtures in it. And so so on page 119, okay, you get a footnote talking about how there's no, see if I can get this. You get a footnote that talks about how there's no fixtures. And then here it starts listing different kinds of fixtures you might have in a house, like HVAC and other like very technical things that could be in a home in this blue box. On the next page, that same information is mirrored as though it's like bleeding through the page. Then at one point they start talking about the different types of buildings. It says it's no way reminiscent of any modern floor plans, let alone historical experiments in design. So there's the footnote there for that. And then this footnote begins, for example, there's nothing about the house that even remotely resembles, and then 20th century works, and then it starts listing different types of houses. And this footnote continues along the left side of the page for the rest of the chapter, which is until page until 134. So about 20 pages of just types of houses. And then it itself has a footnote. That footnote goes to the next page, but is upside down. And that starts listing the architects of buildings. And then that runs backwards all the way to the first page that started the list of types of buildings. Why is this here? What purpose does this serve? I'm not going to read all of them.
To make you lose your mind.
I'm not going to read all of them. I read some of them. Some of them were very funny. Like, eventually the list of buildings gets to things like Christian and Byzantine architectural conceits, the Palace of Minos, Crete, the Temple of Apollo, the Shrine of Anubis, the Temple of Hespet. And then meanwhile, like the story is like here, and it still has footnotes. And so you're dealing with all this information. It's an overload of information. And it's just so ridiculous. Yeah, and like this continues listing things like drains, bathtubs, urinals, sinks, drinking fountains. Like these are things it doesn't have. A hose reel, whether a 2.5 inch or 1.5 inch valve. Foam systems, gaseous suppression systems. And that just continues. And again, it's reversed on the next page. So, yeah, that's what I'm reading right now. I really want to finish this chapter because it's a lot. Also, some of the footnotes are now like sideways on the top of the page or sideways along the text, which is fun. So, yeah, let me see. I'm on 120 right now. And I would have to get to, man, like 150 something, I think. Goodness. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to finish this chapter. It's 155, maybe? Nope. Keeps going. Okay. 152 we get to. Yeah, so it's at 152. So I'm probably not going to get all the way there, but I'm probably going to read a little bit more before bed. Just to get a little bit farther into this particularly insane part of the book. So, oh, this one says see Exhibit 1. Well, now I've got to go to the index. Anyway, how's your book going?
So I finished The Dollhouse Family. It was pretty good. I liked most of the ending. The very, very end was one of those things where they do a thing that feels like it could be sequel bait. Mm-hmm. But, like, it could also just be that, like, ambiguous ending that there's, like, more to the story. Like, you know how some people end stories, like, with that, like, dangling thing of, like, but the story continues. Mm-hmm. Because I was really interested in where they ended it. I was like, oh, but what does that mean? But I felt like the ending was pretty satisfying. It did a pretty good job of bringing stuff together. Very interestingly, it had the original pitch for the series in it, in the back. And it was very interesting to see how the story had changed from the original pitch. Mm-hmm. Because it seemed very different. There were a lot of things that were really different from what this ended up being. Like, the original pitch, every time Alice goes into the dollhouse, they don't remember her. Mm-hmm. But they always just greet her nicely. And then when she grows up and has a kid, when her daughter turns 6, she realizes that the little girl in the dollhouse is her daughter. Mm. That, like, who was her playmate for years and years as a child. Mm-hmm. That's her daughter. Okay. And I'm like, that sounds crazy. None of that is in this. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that sounds absolutely crazy. The book at the end, there's an interview with the creators, and they describe it as generational horror, which I do think it is. Mm-hmm. It is following a family, and basically a, like, plight that is, like, passed down through the generations. I liked a good bit of this. I liked a lot of this. I felt it did a good job. The ending was pretty satisfying, tied a lot of the loose ends together. It did a good job. It was very spooky and satisfying end. I enjoyed it. You would probably like it.
Sounds like something I'd enjoy.
Now I'm reading this nonsense. Now I'm reading Everything is Fine, and I have no idea what is happening. Mm-hmm. We've got a bunch of people with these cat heads.
Yeah.
Over their actual heads.
Yeah.
And they are in a highly surveilled world. Mm-hmm. And sometimes one of their eyes turns red, seemingly when they're breaking a social contract. Mm-hmm.
Gotta behave.
There's a definite sense of, like, surveillance and mistrust and, like, possible accusations about, like, people not being who they should be. We've got people who seem to be outside of the system. Mm-hmm. We've got this weirdness with the dog. That was so weird.
Yeah, like...
At the very beginning, they're like...
This is not a spoiler.
No, it's like the first chapter. They're like, oh, time to feed the dog. Oh, come here, you lazy dog. The dog is dead and decaying. Yeah. The dog is not, like, recently deceased. It is very dead. But they do not acknowledge this.
They have to pretend like it's fine and everything's going great.
It's just like, oh, you silly dog. And then later, when they take the dog's body outside, they have to do it like, oh, do you need to go number 2? Let me carry you outside, you lazy boy. Very strange. I don't know enough about this world or what is going on. Mm-hmm. I know that the neighbor across the street was potentially involved in something.
What's the title again? Everything's Fine?
Everything is Fine. It's a webtoon. Yeah, it's weird.
I still don't see a volume 3.
They might be on hiatus.
And it might be, because, like, clearly, I've read the first 2 volumes. Clearly, there should be more.
Yeah.
And I know there's more. I want to say I looked this up at one point. I know there are more chapters on Webtoons than what.
So they might just have to wait until they get enough, and it could be on hiatus for any number of reasons, or they could have a set amount of time they want to wait before they put it out. I think it's very interesting. Like I don't read a lot of Webtoons online because so many of them are in a now. I used to read tons of webcomics, but now so many webcomics are structured behind a paywall where you have to pay for each chapter, and I'm not about that life. Yeah. I'm not paying to read a single chapter. I'm not paying to read every chapter. I'm not paying chapter by chapter to read your work.
This sounds like Manga Up as well. Yeah. I really want to read The Red Ranger Becomes an Adventure in Another World, but I refuse to use that app. It is such garbage.
And I would consider the Shonen Jump online app, because as far as I know, you can pay for like unlimited access. You pay and you get to read whatever you want. And Webtoons may have a feature like that too. When I have so much else to read, it's really hard to commit to paying a monthly fee to something to read other things that I might forget about, and I'm just paying them for something I'm not using. So it's much nicer to just buy the book. Although it is really interesting. I think adapting webcomics for a book is very interesting. Because I was reading some of the DC ones, and there are certain things you can do with the scroll, right? With that vertical format. There's certain amounts of time that it takes to scroll that you can put space in between panels to achieve things that you can't get in a book the same way.
He apparently takes, the creator apparently takes 6 to 7 month breaks between parts, and part 4 started like June 29th. So he said that he was going to write, part 4 is going to be 30 episodes, and then the season 4 is 30 episodes, and then he's going to take another break, and then season 5 is the last one. I imagine that each season is just one.
Yeah, that's because it contains episodes 1 through 16, so I don't know if that is season 1 or what.
Well, you said this one would be 30, so maybe each season is 2?
I don't know.
But there's no news on Volume 3 coming out.
But yeah, so it's very interesting, like, trying to see, like, how they have adapted it for the format, how they have... And since I haven't read the original, I can't compare them as easily. But it is interesting trying to see how they're accomplishing those things. And I can kind of envision in my mind certain things where I'm like, oh, there was probably like a lot of space here. You probably had to scroll here to like show that there was like a beat, right? Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting seeing how they adapt it into book format. Mm-hmm. And I always hope and I assume that the artists are involved in that conversion. Yeah. So that they can try to achieve what they can in the conversion without things just being lost by someone else. So I don't know what enjoying it is the right word at the moment. I am intrigued, but I don't know enough about what's going on to really be hooked.
I will say by the end of Volume 2, there will be more of a sense of plot.
Yeah. So I look forward to that, because right now it's just very vibesy. Mm-hmm. We're just kind of being introduced to elements of this world. Like, there's a lot more going on than you're being told, mm-hmm. and I just need to be told a little bit more. Yeah. I need a little bit more in before I am fully invested. Mm-hmm. Just because the characters all understand the stakes and I don't. And that can be frustrating because you don't understand anyone's motivation. Mm-hmm. But, they've constructed it that way for a reason. They want to bring up the suspense. Mm-hmm. So.
There's another Webtoons book that I've been getting that I liked. I think Nothing Special. Mm-hmm.
Well, and I was reading... I read all of Wayne Family Adventure.
Wayne Family Adventure was so good.
Wayne Family Adventure, so good. I was reading Zatanna and the Ripper, which was pretty good. And I haven't
read that one yet. I know it's on our shelf.
I was reading Red Hood and the Outlaws, which I haven't bought, but I probably will. just to support it. And it was fine. I don't know. Anything with Jason Todd just ends up feeling really frustrating to me because I feel like the fandom writes him better than DC does. It feels like at least Wayne Family Adventures, they felt like a family that could like coexist. I feel like they don't know, most DC people who take on Jason Todd don't know how to write him if he isn't being completely at odds with Batman. And like any progress they might have made, anything that might have happened, we forget all of that and we go back to just being almost enemies.
Yeah.
And it's just boring. Just being like, yep, he's the black sheep of the family. It's just like, it's boring. There were some interesting things in Red Hood and the Outlaws I was enjoying, but it wasn't my favorite of the three I was reading. Wayne Family Adventures was easily my favorite of the three I was reading. But I might pick it up just to try it out and to support the webcomics, because I did like the webcomics. And the webcomics exist kind of on their own continuity, which I definitely support them taking more risk in letting people tell stories that are maybe not so tightly bound to current continuity, to where they let people explore characters and do things. So I might check that one out either from the library or by purchasing it if I find it at a good price eventually. Once I finish Zatanna, though, because I really want to get more of that one.
Did I finish Wade Family Adventures? I don't think I did.
It's 5 volumes. I don't think you read all 5.
I read one. I've read 1 and 2.
It's so good.
Yeah, I guess I stopped at 2 because I don't have 3, 4, or 5 rated.
And the more you know...
I rated the first 2 5. They were all hilarious.
And the more you know about the Bat family, I feel like the more you do get out of Wayne Family Adventures. Because, like, there's a bit where Tim and Damian have, like, a heart-to-heart about how they don't get along. So if you know their history in the comics, if you know that Damian literally tried to kill Tim twice, like that has a lot of meaning. Because it's these two characters that have never, in mainstream comics, actually had a heart-to-heart about the fact that they, like, hate each other. And why that is, and what the beef between them actually comes from. Actually working through their problems is so good. So good.
But it is 3:30 in the morning.
I'm gonna finish this. I don't care what time it is. So.
I'm gonna continue reading House of Leaves.
So should we do one more?
No, we're not gonna do one more. I'm gonna do so in the comfort of my bed.
You're on the comfort of a couch.
With the option of falling asleep.
By option, you mean obligation, because you cannot stay awake.
So, yeah, we're gonna stop. So thanks for coming by and hanging out with us. I hope you are enjoying the spooky season and getting some reading done. I hope your reading journey is going well. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Feed the algorithm.
Help us grow this corner of our BookTube community. Anything you want to add?
No, bye.
All right.
I don't know if we'll stream next week.
That is a very good question.
Probably not.
Probably not. All right.